See him a beast when you hear that sound like yeah, beat on the beat when you hear that sound like woo. Yeah, bitch and the champ only need one round like yeah, me, I'm a G-Ring, he in the sound like
Mike Owens here, then joined by Miles Chapo Johns, who returns to action 23rd of September, facing Dan Argueta, UFC Apex. Miles, always a pleasure, my man. How are things with you today?
I'm doing well, man. Good to be talking to you.
Perfect. 10 months out the cage. I know you obviously had the Barcelos fight that unfortunately fell off, but how have things been in the life of Miles Johns?
To be honest, man, they've been tough. You know that like life is always good for me. You know, I keep a very optimistic mindset, but it's been tough, man. I put my freaking heart and soul into that Barcelos fight camp. You know, I was ready for war. You know, I was ready to go in there, and I was really envisioning catching him with the shot, whether it be like in the third after a lot of strikes in a full blown war. And I was envisioning my knockout. You know, and my wife at the time was 37 weeks pregnant. I got 3 other kids already, so I spent a lot of money and time into that fight camp, and to go there and get the rug pulled out from under my feet on Wednesday night and not even been able to fight, it was a tough pill to swallow because you know I didn't get my show money, I didn't get anything like that, so yeah, after that it was tough, and not only that, but I couldn't train right after. You know, I had to heal up. I wanted to get back in there right away because I wanted to be able to get paid. But I had to take time and heal up and stuff. So it's been a journey, but I'm happy to be here now. I'm happy to get a fight booked as soon as I did once I was healthy. And yeah, onward we go.
I love it. First of all, congratulations on number 4. That's always a good thing to hear. What was, obviously we talked about the Barcelos fight you mentioned that happened to pull out on the Wednesday night. What was the actual nature of the injury?
Yeah, so I was doing the last fight run through, and I dislocated my shoulder. I tore my pec, tore my labrum. It was a pretty rough ordeal, you know. And yeah, I mean, it's feeling great now. I was a little bit nervous to kind of go open with the injury, you know, just for the next fight. And yeah, I didn't want anybody targeted, but you can if you're spending your time trying to target that, then this could be a long night for you because my shoulder's completely healthy. Everything's healthy with it. I put through rigorous tests and stuff. And if you're worried about that instead of your game plan, you're probably going to find yourself getting hurt. So,
as someone who dislocated their shoulder last May, I know the feeling. It's a nasty injury, but good to hear that you're back on the mend and obviously got this fight booked for next Saturday. Just give me your overall thoughts on the matchup, Dan Argueta. What have you made of him so far? Give me your scouting report.
You know what? I think it's a really good matchup. You know, I like the matchup. I don't think there's many secrets when it comes to Dan. You know, I think he's he has really good cardio. I think he likes to push the pace, but he's a grappler. You know, at the end of the day, he wants to get a hold of you, and he wants to be grappling. I don't think he's comfortable when it's standing. The reason I like the matchup is because I've been wrestling my entire freaking life. Like if you want to try to wrestle me, that's nothing new for me, man. I grew up wrestling, state champion wrestler. Like wrestling is just in my blood. It's in my DNA. But also I love to strike. I love to throw heavy leather and stuff. And yeah, I think on that end they're kind of thinking. I don't know if I was him, I'd be wondering. I'd be trying to push my cardio. I'd be trying to push the pace. But I've been like I said, it's been some dark times, so I've just been freaking grinding. You know, I like my cardio is gonna be on point. If you think that you're gonna wear me out, you got another thing coming. You know, so really, I know Dan's a game opponent. You know, I think he has a bright future, but I don't think he's got to be ready for the level of violence I'm bringing into that octagon September 23rd.
I don't want to kind of labour the point because I don't want to stress that the dark times you referenced too much, but has there been a mentality shift on your end? Has something maybe changed since the last time we saw you in the octagon?
There has been, you know, it's been just a whole lot of soul searching since then. You know, I say soul searching, but really just finding the true me. You know, I've been through so much adversity. You know, from changing the gyms to my coach getting pulled the day before the fight, all the James Krause stuff going down, not being able to chain in glory, finding my new gym, doing all this. I got myself sober after that, and we're drinking and we're smoking and we're none of that. And it's just been a lot. Like to put it in words is really, really hard to explain, you know. And I was really looking forward to showing the new version of me against Raoni Barcelos, against such a tough and game opponent who people kind of counted me out against. and then to have that rug pulled out from under my feet, like you do all these changes. I went through the process of getting sober, making everything in my life right, like just getting things together and feeling like I just feeling like a killer. And then I get to the fight. I'm almost there. I'm almost to the weight. Like everything's going good, and then boom, a freaking another obstacle jumps right in your way, I think that it was just another test for me. It was just another test to just make me a little bit stronger. And I'm get goosebumps talking about it. I'm freaking hungry now, man. I'm just ready to show the world who Miles Johns really is. I'm feeling violent. I'm feeling sharp, and I'm feeling ready to fight.
I love it. You mentioned there are people counting you out. I actually did a little bit of a check on the fight odds for this fight before we jumped on. I was quite surprised to learn you're about a 2-1 underdog on most lines. That really kind of surprised me, given what you've done in your career and what Argueta has perhaps shown us in his career. What do you attribute the fact that you're the underdog in this fight to? Do you think it's the time away? Do you think it's matchup-wise? What do you put that down to?
Yeah, I guess it's just a time away. It's funny, like in some of I've heard in some of like Dan's interviews and stuff, he kind of sees himself as an underdog. I think everybody kind of has that underdog mentality, but yeah, when I heard him like saying like, oh, people are counting me out, people expect me to lose, like everywhere I've seen, I'm the underdog, which is just it is surprising to me, and it does like put a little fire under my butt, because it's like you guys don't know like what all the things that I've done. Like I'm 13-2, I've got two knockout of the night bonuses. I'm 4-2 in the UFC, and if you look at the type of like styles make fights, you look at the style of fighter I am, like this is a hard matchup for a wrestler grappler. So I think it is a time away. I think people just kind of forget, and you're only as good as your last fight, and my last fight against Bruce Morales, that wasn't my best showing, and the fight against that John Cassaday, that wasn't my best showing either. So it makes sense. Like I understand, but that fight against Morales, that was 2 weeks notice fight. I was at a brand new gym. Like I said, James got pulled the night before the fight. There was just a whole ton of stuff going on in my head, and I was coming off a loss. Like I was just sitting there just trying to get a dub, just trying to get a quick dub. And I think people see that now as like that's who Miles Johns the fighter is. Like that's how he fights, and that's simply not the case, So yeah, I'm ready to show the world what I'm about again, and get some momentum going.
There's been a lot of, as you mentioned there, a lot of turbulence going on over the last couple of fights. You obviously had the Castaneda fight, which didn't go your way. We've then talked about the last fight against Morales, where your coach gets pulled the night of the fight, the day before the fight. I can only imagine what that must be like for a fighter mentally going into that. And then you obviously had the Barcelos fight pulled. Does it feel like, as much as anything, it's just nice to kind of be settled, to be in a good mental space going into this fight, because those last 2 or 3 have been very, very difficult circumstances in their own right?
It does. It feels good, but at the same time, I'm expecting some sort of turbulence. Like now, like it's just like that's just what we expect. It's we're walking through the desert. This is a desert, and you gotta walk through hell before you get to the garden. So it feels good to be where I'm at now, but the job isn't done. I go to Vegas now, and I know that like the job isn't done until it's done, until my hands raised. So this camp hasn't been crazy easy either. There's been turbulence inside of this camp. I feel great. I feel like I'm better than I've ever been. I feel 100% healthy. I feel like my cardio is on point. My strength is on point. I feel good personally, and my body feels good, but I felt good like that last time, and then unexpected things happen. So I'm just keeping a mindset of like whatever comes in front of me, whatever happens, I'm taking it, and I'm just gonna gobble it up. Like there's nothing's gonna happen that can break me, and I take that into the fight too. Like whatever Dan wants to do, whatever he wants to try to do to me, like if you want to take me down, I'm getting right back up. You take me down again, I'm getting right back up, and I'm throwing a heavy leather. You take me down 10 times, I'm getting back up 10 times, and I'm throwing heavy leather. There's nothing that's gonna break me. I'm fighting until I simply can't fight anymore. And I think when I do that, then it's going to be a long bloody night for Dan.
Where are you training out of now, Miles? Where's the new gym that you decided to call home?
Marathon MMA in Kansas City under Trey Ogden. I got my boy. Yep, got my boy Garrett Armfield there. Got my boy Mike Breeden there. We got a bunch of other younger guys coming up and stuff. And I'm really settled into this gym now. Like the last camp, I was confident in it. I was settled in. I was happy to have them behind me. But now just going through that together, and then Garrett just got his the first win for Marathon in the UFC a couple weekends ago. It was a very dominant first round knockout. Like we got some momentum going now, and it's such a there's such a family vibe there. You know what I mean. I feel really close to these guys, so I'm almost grateful for the opportunity to go through that whole camp with Barcelos and go through that hardship, because it just made me closer to Trey. And now, now him going to Vegas, I just like both of us are probably double more confident in each other, and we just have that experience with each other, So it's I feel even better, and I'm really proud to be repping Marathon this fight.
No, I love it. Good to hear, and shout out to Trey Ogden and your other training partners there. Obviously, Garrett's big win on Singapore cards, I believe it was. So good to see the team kick off there, and obviously you're going to try and make it 2-0 next Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
I love it. Obviously, the title. I want to talk about the title picture at 135 because the Bantamweight title changed hands last month. I was lucky enough to be in attendance for the Sugar Show versus Aljamain Sterling. Just your overall reaction to that fight and what your overall immediate reaction was in the moment when it was called.
I was surprised, but I wasn't at the same time. If I think Sugar's good. I think he's good. I think that people are realizing also though that like with him holding the belt, it's a wide open division. Like you got Cheeto, you got Merab, you got Aljo, you got Sandhagen, you got all these guys. Like nobody knows. It doesn't feel like there's a dominant champion. Like when Cejudo first won the belt, it was like, dang, who's gonna be able to beat this dude? Like who's gonna be able to beat him? Like it felt like he was gonna hold the belt for a little bit. Right now, it doesn't feel that way. But I do think Sugar's good, but I also feel like Aljo got a little bullied into that fight. I'm not saying the result would have been anything different. I'm not saying like Aljo, that style, it just might not be a good style against Sugar, But I felt like he shouldn't have taken that fight so soon after his Cejudo fight, after that title, and after the injuries and the things that he went through. It just didn't seem like he was quite as locked in. You can't really tell from social media and all this and stuff like that. That means nothing. I understand that. But it just always, the whole time, it felt like a quick turnaround for me. It felt like, I don't know if we're really going to see the Aljo that we've seen in the past with how he has to cut weight and all this stuff. But I'm happy. I'm not a hater. I'm happy for Sean. Like I've been following his career for a while and stuff. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's locked in mentally. I think he does. Although he does some antics and stuff, and he like portrays himself in a certain way, like a funny guy, which he is hilarious. I think that at the core, he is a true martial artist. I really do believe that, so I'm happy for him. But as far as I see it, like, man, this is a wide open division. You break that top 15, you win a couple of those. It's almost like getting to the top 5 is the hardest part. Once you're at the top 5, the title is like right there. Like you have a good night and you can take the title. Like Cheeto has a bad night, you can beat Cheeto on a bad night. Sandhagen made it look easy. I'm not saying Cheeto is an easy fight. I'm not saying that at all. But just the opportunity is there. Cheeto could beat Sugar. Merab could beat Cheeto. Merab could beat Sugar. Sugar could beat. It's like there's no one there that's just separating themselves from everybody else. So yeah, it's exciting for me. It's mostly like string some wins together and then get through these guys at the bottom of the top 15. I feel like that's right now the Shark Tank. That's the hard part to get through. Get through the Giannis's and Martinez's and the Song Yadongs and all those guys and Umar's and stuff. And once you make it past those Sharks, then you're sitting there close to getting the belt. So yeah.
Out of interest, how far away do you feel like you would be from a top 15 fight? Obviously, it's result dependent. It depends on impression that the matchmakers in many ways. But in an ideal world, how many fights do you think you would be away from?
I feel like I go out there September 23rd and I dominate. I got one more fight, and then I feel like I'll be fighting for my number.
Yeah, 100%. We'll turn the conversation back to yourself for one final question, Miles, and you can be as brief or as detailed as you like with this one. What I would like you to do is give me a walkthrough of the perfect day on fight day. So what happens when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night?
When I wake up in the morning, I do a little bit of breath work. I kiss my wife, kiss my son. My newborn son's going to be there. My other 3 boys are going to be at the ranch in Peabody. So I kiss my wife, kiss my son, do some breath work. I get my peanut butter toast with some eggs, some good protein and fluids in me. Do a little fight shakeout. Go back to the hotel room, sleep. When I wake up, it's about time to head to the venue and we're ready for action. It's a pretty chill, laid back day. I retain as much energy as possible. I retain more than I want. Like through the day, I'll feel like I'm about to get pumped up. I'll feel like I'm like getting excited. And I'll just tell myself, just chill. It's not time yet. it's not time. And by the time I'm warmed up, it's just like, finally, I've been ready. Like, I've been ready to warm up. Like, let's go, let's get warmed up. And then by the time I'm walking to that octagon, I'm freaking fired up, and I'm ready to leave everything out there. So, yeah, that's the ideal fight day for me.
I love it. Did you say your latest baby was a fourth son?
He's my fourth boy. Yep, and he'll be in there. He'll be there in Vegas with my wife and I. So I'm excited for that.
Have any of them shown any potential of following in the father's footsteps and also being fighters, or is it too early to tell?
Oh no, my oldest is 6, and I mean we got kids MMA practice today, and they ask me all day long, we have practice today, and they always tell me that their goal is they're going to be the LFA champion, they're going to go to the UFC. That's like the only way they think that they get into the UFC. They're like, first you have to win LFA, and then you go to contenders, then you go to UFC. That's their ideology and stuff, and I'm excited. It's fun, you know. I'm not going to say that I actually want them to take that path. You know, this is a hard road. I don't know if I really want them to, but right now, of course, they want to be like dad fighting in the UFC. So they're going to train, and they'll become black belts, and they'll become good at whatever they do, and we'll see what happens.
I love it. I love it. Well, Miles, it's great to catch up. It was great to see you booked in this fight. Can't wait to see you back in action next Saturday night, and wish you the best of luck for fight night.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Have a good one.